Hey, everybody, and welcome to Friday with Fran. Wait, that's not Fran. All right, so if you watched last week, you know that Fran is otherwise engaged today. And so I reached out to Greg and asked him if he would not step into Fran's shoes, but just help fill the void while Fran was not available for us today. And he graciously agreed. So, Greg, thank you for being with me today. And hopefully I don't embarrass you and we get to have fun today.
No, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share more about my relationship with my daughter.
Yeah, so your daughter is amazing. And we talked a little bit about her last week, and we've talked about her a little bit in the past too. That she's now an adult, right?
Yep.
She's the same age as my daughter, so they're both 21, which is crazy to believe that our babies are 21. Because I mean, you and I are just 25, so I don't know how that happens. So, what kind of things have been going on with you and Maddie lately?
As I've mentioned before in previous episodes, I get her almost every single weekend. By getting her, I mean she comes Friday early afternoonish, like she'll be showing up anytime now for this weekend, and then I keep her till Sunday. And lately, our big thing is so one thing that's really important to me is now that she's graduated from high school, we need to continue her life skills. We don't just stop at that. So one thing that kind of worked out really well while I have time with her on the weekends is we now plan our dinners and we both cook.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen your videos and I'm really excited to share them with our viewers because I've just been so impressed. I really think you guys could have your own show, your own cooking show from start to finish, how it all goes and what you all do and the process. I mean, I'm really serious because, we've talked about this. I mean, the whole reason that I do my other show is to break down people's ideas about somebody with special needs.
Right.
And, you guys don't have to make, although you do, elaborate meals. But I really think that would be a great way for people to, be able to tune in and say, oh, okay, yeah, this is cool. And you guys have such a good connection,
Yeah.
So I personally think it's entertaining, but, I might be a little biased.
Yeah. I'm sure you probably are. But, this whole thing started out with I felt like I needed to continue working with her on improving her life skills. And I like to cook and she doesn't mind cooking. So the journey's been, we started out with real simple things, She already knew how to microwave a breakfast bowl and all that on her own. So I said, all right, I think we should start stepping it up. And so incrementally, I've been introducing her to, making her own homemade mac and cheese. And then recently I started having her actually put stuff in the oven and pull stuff out. Although I got to tell you, it's a little frazzling for me, but I'm right there, but, and I taught her how to use a hand mitten and all of that. But, I'm a parent, so of course I'm going to be nervous, but she's doing great. So I think the next thing that we're going to do is I think I'm going to start teaching her how to make sauces to put over our protein.
Oh, I'm still waiting, by the way, for my dinner invitation to one of these amazing Friday night dinners that you guys do, because typically that's when you make them, right? Is Friday night
and Saturday night.
Oh, you do make them Saturday. Okay. Maybe I just haven't.
Well, every once in a while, I'll either get lazy or like a couple weekends ago, I had this extravagant meal all planned out and I went shopping for it. And Maddie announced, I want pizza. I'm like, really? You want pizza? And I was thinking about it. I was like, this one's going to make the kitchen a disaster. We'll do pizza. So we did pizza.
Yeah.
So we mix it up.
Well, yeah. And I was just saying to my husband last night, because we were trying to figure out, for the 10,000th time in this past year, what are we going to make again for this meal? I'm like, why do we have to eat every time 3 times a day? Yeah. So I think this is Michael, although it doesn't say. I'm guessing he's watching from the Facebook group. So it just says, I'm off at 6. What time is dinner? Or no, what is for dinner? I'm sorry. He corrected. He fixed it. What is for dinner tonight? So what is on the menu for tonight?
Tonight we're going to have baked beans with weenies cut into it.
Nice.
And some garlic toast. We're going to make this one easy because I wanted to write a few notes for this session. Then we have this session. So if there's any prep, I usually do it before Matt. Oh, that's another thing that I'm going to get Maddie starting to do is like, we had, I bought a chicken, what do you call those? Game hens? Cornish game hens?
Cornish game hens.
And I put it in the the crock pot, but I put Mirepoix. Well, because it went in the crock pot, I had to get it prepped. So she technically, she did all the other stuff. She made the stuffing and everything else when she got here. But when I was chopping up all the carrots and onions and celery, I got to thinking, we haven't really done, she's used a sharp knife every now and then. She's cut her own steak before, but anymore, now that she's mastered it, she's like, Dad, will you cut this up for me? And it's like, okay, I'll cut it up for you. That's just her being lazy, but she knows how to do it, so I don't really worry about that. But I think that's the next thing to do is having her use a sharp knife properly and cut like raw vegetables and stuff.
Yeah. And I'm gonna pat myself on the back and try not to break my arm while I'm doing it. But I started the cooking stuff with her.
Yes, you did.
We used to prepare in my class. We'd have an Easter. We'd try to have one of the holidays, if not 2 in a year. So we would do the Thanksgiving or Christmas, and then maybe an Easter, or maybe Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so, yeah, I mean, and that was when she was like 10, 12.
She was itty bitty.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a long time ago. And yeah, so, I mean, for anybody watching, don't put that limit on anybody in your household of not being able to help. You just have to think outside the box. A lot of what I would do with my students when we would fix meals with them is, maybe we would do some hand over hand, helping them do some mixing stuff or teaching them kind of the pressure that was needed. We did do, a lot of microwavable things, but I tried to work with them, like, okay, mashed potatoes. I also had to think about my time constraint in a school day too.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to say that we did homemade mashed potatoes once or twice, and we would do like a turkey breast, and it kind of the same thing. I had to put the turkey breast in the crock pot, but yeah, the kids, I mean, I gotta tell you, I don't know if you remember this. Sorry, squirrel. I don't know if you remember this or if we even I think we shared it with the parents, but the one teacher that I work with, we always celebrated Pi Day, which is March 14th. So that's coming up, by the way. So for anybody, March 14th, it's the pi, meaning the mathematical pi, 3.14, and then 1,000 numbers after that. But she would make a celebration at our school where the kids could make a pie. So there was homemade pies, there was store-bought pies, and then there was competition to see what was the best of each of those categories. I don't remember how old Maddie was. I'm thinking 6th or 7th grade, and my kids made a pie, and it was a homemade chocolate pie. We bought the store-bought crust, but we did everything else, and our pie won. Our homemade, and I looked at the teacher and I was like, "Did you rig this?" And she was like, "No, because the way they vote is the students come through and they look at all the pies, and then she picks, like, I don't remember how many students, and then there were some staff that got to vote on what was their favorite pie. And so our kids won. And we were so excited because we had the best chocolate pie, best homemade pie that year.
I don't remember hearing that. If I did, I'd certainly forgotten it, but good for you. I got to tell you, you thinking about introducing them to cooking was a perfect thing to do, because when she graduated from elementary, she went to, where'd she first go? Nashville High School. And in Nashville, they would no, was it Nashville? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Nashville.
that's where she started.
Yeah, and they had already had this whole built-out kitchen. They dedicated one whole room to a kitchen, and they routinely made full-on meals. So she had already gotten exposed to, the tasks at hand and stuff, and then they picked up right where you left off, and they carried it forward.
Yeah.
So that was really, really helpful for her to have that.
And now you're continuing to do that with her.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I forgot the housekeeping stuff again. And thank you, Michael, for saying that you're live from Breeze, #live from Breeze. So if you're watching live, let us know that. If you're watching in a replay, let us know that. And yeah, tell us where you're from. If you've never seen these before and you like this, please like it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share it out, because the more people that share it and like it and comment on it, the more it's going to be exposed to other people. And that's what we want. We're only a couple of people on here. I can't reach everybody in the world, but the more you guys share these kinds of things, the more people we will reach, and the more people can be helped and encouraged, and the more we can make the world better for all, one human being at a time. So that's all the business and all the storekeeping front stuff. I don't know what I just said.
We do.
Okay, good. I'm glad you all understand me. Yeah, you've said the three of you that are with me right now, Greg and Mike and my mom. You've been with me enough now. You can pretty much understand what I'm saying, even when I'm speaking gibberish. So
Yeah, you do fine.
All right. So we've got. I already forgot what you said you have for dinner tonight.
We're doing
beans and weenies.
Yeah.
Beans and weenies. That's right. So what has been, you said that you had an elaborate meal planned a while back and then you just chucked it. What has been the most elaborate meal you've made with her so far?
Probably, I had bought what I thought was a turkey breast from the store, and the mashed potatoes and some sweet potatoes, and of course stuffing. And when I thawed the turkey breast out, come to find out, it was a small whole turkey.
Oh.
So I cooked a whole turkey. But
Nice.
I gotten this recipe from somebody that worked with me in a previous job, who she takes a turkey breast, and she takes cans of what is that? The cranberry sauce. And all she does is she'll season it how she wants to, the turkey, whether it's a breast. In my case, it was a whole one. And then she just pours the cranberry sauce on the bottom, in this case, a crock pot, but it could be, I've done it also in a casserole dish too. But the one that I did with Maddie is we poured the cranberry sauce in a crock pot, and you just set the turkey on it, and you close the lid, and you forget about it. And I've always thought that was kind of weird, but I thought, what the heck? Let's give it a try. It came out wonderful. It was delightful. So, and we did that on a Saturday, so I didn't have to she could do all the prep work with me. So we both did it from, top to bottom. But I got to tell you, we trashed that kitchen.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
So does she help with the cleanup yet?
She does every once in a while. She doesn't feel too motivated to help clean up the kitchen, so I'll cut her some slack every now and then. But more often than not, she helps do the dishes.
Yeah, because that was something that I taught them was, if you help cook, you also help clean up.
Right.
Or if you didn't help cook, you definitely help clean up, because you need to help participate. You got to benefit, so you want to help in some way. Now, don't tell Kevin that, because I don't always help with dinner here at home. So, Mom, don't say anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just every once in a while I kind of gauge her mood, and if it looks like, not that it would cause a problem, because she would certainly do it if I insisted, but if I feel like there's something going on and I just want to cut her some slack, I just do it.
Yeah.
So, which is kind of the topic at hand too. That's one of the things I had to kind of change about my relationship with her and her as her father. And while we're still keeping the life skill development stuff alive, there's also room for breaks and vacations and all of that. So that is something I purposely changed, because sometimes everyone needs a break, and she certainly.
Yeah. And you talked a little bit ago about, her with the opening of the oven, and I'll share some of the cooking videos here in a little bit. And I'm not sure if I'm going to have that one specifically that I'll share or not, but I remember in the video, and she was, I can't remember exactly what point, but anyway, she was getting close to the oven. I don't know if she was going to reach in, and you were like, oh, this is making me so nervous.
I was freaking out.
And I was like, it'll be okay, Greg. And I'm talking to you while this video is playing. I'm like, she'll be fine. Even if she touches something, that's another way that she's going to learn very quickly. I know. We don't want to have that happen, but she's learned so much, and she is very savvy when it comes to a lot of things, I think. And I mean, I haven't been around her on a daily basis in how many years? 2014, 7 years. Wow.
Yeah.
So I got to help mold the foundation. But what you and your ex-wife are doing with her now, I mean, I'm just so proud of all of you, and I'm so inspired by the fact that you're not like, oh gosh, now what do we do? She's not going to school every day, or, she's done with school, and we're just gonna like let her play video games all day or something. You guys are still taking trips. You're still, I mean, as much as you can during a pandemic, but and you're still, teaching her all those things. And that's what the part of the law that talks about further education, employment, and independent living is talking about. It looks different for everybody. I mean, so I'm so proud of you and how far you've come. Because as you mentioned last week when we were talking about teachers, you had a teacher that sometimes gave you unsolicited advice, but and that was probably me, but
probably
maybe, I don't know.
You do realize, while I wasn't rather enthused about getting that advice, I embraced every word.
I did.
Everything. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you were always very gracious, and if it was something that you didn't want to hear, you were like, okay, I'll think about it, or okay, I'll take that into consideration, or I mean, you could have easily just said, back off, I'm the dad, I'm going to do it the way I want.
Right.
But you didn't. And
no.
And I think that, for both of us, because there were things that, you guys requested of me that I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that, or I can try that, or, I mean, we had and have a wonderful relationship, but we didn't agree 100% of the time, all the time.
No.
So, I mean, I think you mentioned it once before that, we helped everybody grow, not just Maddie, but you guys as parents, me as a teacher. It was and is a great relationship, and I'm very thankful to have it. So go ahead.
You laid the landscape for Lisa and I, because we were still, when you got involved with Maddie, we were still trying to figure out what the heck we were doing.
Yeah.
Lisa had some exposure to a Down's child that she babysat when she was a teenager. I had zero, none. And like I'd said before, you try to read as much as you can, and most of it's depressing.
Right.
And that's scary. Why I like what you're doing here, because A, this isn't depressing, but B, my vision is this is helping enlighten communities with, or even without, if they choose to watch this, that have special needs loved ones in their lives.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, as my mom mentioned last week, she had opportunities to meet Maddie over the years. And actually, I don't know if you saw this earlier, but I had posted that put this up here that she said, please tell Maddie hi from either, you can call her either Kino's mom or Violet's grandma, because that's what she used to call her. And there was another comment here. Oh, sign of good cooks is a trashed kitchen.
Yeah, right. Well,
That's
then we're
true.
good cooks.
Yeah, I must be amazing then. Oh, wait. No, Kevin and Violet, they have such skills in the kitchen. And so I try to just do the cleanup, but I don't always get that done either. So, and then, yeah, always moving forward, always learning. And no matter what age you are, what stage you are in life, I'm still learning stuff. I mean, almost every time that I do a hashtag no limits or I do a Friday with Fran, I learn something. You know, I mean, I always have a takeaway, even if it isn't a brand new thing that I'm learning. I always have a takeaway. So do you want me to pop on one of the cooking videos?
You know what? That's perfect timing because Lisa and Maddie just walked up to the door.
Okay, let me grab.
Do I mute?
You don't have to, no, but you can. Oh, you know what? Hang on a second. I got to stop sharing because I forgot to click the share the audio. And I want to make sure that when I do that, that when I share these, that I get the volume because you hear you talking to her. So.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Segment 2. Now we got to get the rice in the bowl. I'm going to pick the rice up because it's really hot.
Okay.
You're going to scoop it in the bowl.
Yes.
Okay?
I do it myself.
Yep. You're going to do that by yourself. If I can get this out.
Yeah.
Which I'm not having a good time doing here.
Oh, no.
It's really hard.
It is hard. Oh. Let's see.
What's wrong with your cheeks?
Nothing.
Then why'd you say that? Okay, I got it.
Good.
Okay, now you have to scoop the rice up.
I
Okay.
skip it.
Yeah, careful, it's hot.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No.
Don't scoop all of it, but scoop a lot. You said you want a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you get to me.
Oh my God!
Wow. Come on.
You're crazy, girl.
Come on. Oh, no.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, you know what? That's all of it. So now we got to put some back.
No, I do it.
Okay, you got to put some back. Oops. There you go. Put some back.
Why?
Because that's too much. We don't have enough gravy.
No.
No, just trust me, okay? We'll have plenty, all right? You're not going to do this?
No.
Okay, I will. See, all we got to do is do this. And that. There, that's still a lot of rice, isn't it? You want some more? Okay. All right, now you got to chop it up. And then I'll get the gravy.
I'm going to get some new rice.
Actually, you know what? You're going to get the gravy. So let me know when you're done chopping.
Some. There you go.
I think that's good. What do you think? Okay, now you got to get the gravy. Okay, be careful. The gravy's hot now.
Oh, yeah.
Be very careful.
I will.
Okay. You do it. Go ahead. I'm kind of freaking out here, but I'm going to let you do it. You got to take this pot and put the gravy in there. And careful because it's hot.
Okay, I won't.
Use 2 hands, okay?
Hey.
Okay.
Oh,
You're amazing.
okay.
Pour it all in. All of it. Supergirl.
Yeah,
You rock.
yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay. Can put it on the stove. Put it on this one that's not hot. Okay. Now you
I was
got.
a little nervous about that one.
You
Yeah.
are amazing.
Thank you, Dad.
You're welcome. You earned it. Okay. Stir it up, and then we're gonna have dinner, and then we'll take a picture.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I love you.
I was here.
You asked for this, right? This is your menu, chef.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know you.
Yeah, you did. You totally made it.
So you could hear that, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Good.
I could. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you can, then anybody watching could. So that's good.
I hope so. Yeah.
So I love watching that. I love the interaction between the two of you, and I get such a kick out of the whole rice thing. And
Yeah.
you were like, no, let's put some back. And then you put, I don't know how much, half of it back or whatever. And then you're like, okay, fine, I'll give you some more. And it was just that little bit of give and take. And she
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's something that we all had to learn, is that we don't always have to have it exactly our way. Because if the outcome is still the same, how we get there doesn't have to be one certain way.
Yeah. No, I agree. And when she was little, I fell into, I'll call it a rut, but a habit or whatever, a routine, where when she was really small and hadn't developed to where she is today, obviously, it was pretty much, I was the dictator, I made the decisions, this is what we're going to do. And that's something that has evolved, thankfully, to do, like you said, that little give and take. Okay, you want some more rice? You got your rice. You're in charge. You have power.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's so important because all of us want to feel that we have control of something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to pop up. Hang on. Stop. It's playing and I don't want it to play yet. Okay. So I'm going to share another one. Oh, and I want to jump this in here for you. So I love this. Maddie is no longer a little girl.
No, she's not.
No, she's not.
She's a young woman.
She very much is. All right. So let me pop this one in there and I'm going to play this one down here.
All right. We're back. What's our aprons?
Yeah.
Yay, aprons.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start making meatballs.
Okay. So I have a question. That one says Chef Greg and I can't see hers. Does hers say Chef Maddie?
Does hers say? I don't think it. Yeah. No, I don't think that one does. No. That a good friend of mine that I went to the Gulf War with, he bought that for her and mailed it to us.
Oh, okay. And the other thing that I forgot to comment with the first video is the fact that you call her chef.
Yeah, she is.
Well, I know, but that's just, I just love that. I just think that's so cool that you call her, because she's in charge. So what was the last dish that you made? It was obviously rice. What was in the pot?
Gravy with mushrooms and leftover chicken chunked up.
Okay.
We call it chicken gravy and rice.
Well, it looks delicious. I presume it was.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So here we go.
All right. We're back. What's our aprons?
Yeah.
Yay, aprons.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start making meatballs. We're going to have little ones or big ones?
I don't know.
Let's do them this size.
No.
Bigger?
No.
I think it's good.
Well, that's going to be a big one. You like big meatballs, though.
Yes, it is.
Okay, you make big ones. I'm going to make small ones.
She planned this meal, too.
Well, that looks good. Oh, that's not so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
It's that size.
Mm-hmm.
Look.
Same size.
That size.
Yeah, they are the same size. You're right. That's because we're both chefs.
Yeah.
Don't want to make them too big, do we?
No.
No, just
Too big.
the right size.
Yes, it does that too.
So you just kind of squish and roll? Is that how you do it?
Yeah. Ta-da!
Ta-da! You're amazing.
All right, I like this pie.
Oh, you got another good one? Oh, that one's going to be small, Maddie.
No.
No, it's not. I'm going to get more. I'll show you.
Bigger.
Yeah, I think I made this one too big. What do you think?
Oh, I like it.
You do? Okay.
See, it fit.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
We made way too many meatballs that
It
night.
rained all day today.
Oh,
I know.
Did you
That's why
make these for
spaghetti and meatballs
spaghetti
are
or what?
Yeah.
Oh, we can't forget the garlic bread, right?
oh yeah.
But not-
Right.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah, first we got to bake the meatballs.
Okay.
Then we got the sauce going,
Yep.
and we got the water on for the spaghetti noodles. And you said you want a lot of spaghetti noodles?
Yes.
Okay.
Ow.
That's a lot of everything.
What did I do? I didn't do anything.
Not you.
Okay, I have to stop it there for a second because she just said "ow" and then she blamed you.
I know.
Like, I didn't even touch you.
She does that a lot.
I wonder what it is. You know, like if she bumps something or if something shocks her. Because I feel like I've had students, and I don't know if she was one of them or not, to be honest, but you know, where it's like something happens to them and nobody else is around them, and they're like, "Why'd you do that to me?"
Yeah.
Like I was nowhere near you.
She does that, and then every once in a while I'll stub my toe, and she'll say, "Dad, be
Are you
careful."
gonna help
Yeah.
clean the dishes? I don't hear an answer. Thumbelina.
Yeah, that's a song.
Have you seen that movie before?
Yeah.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Oh, that's my first time. Was it a good one?
Yes. All right, six size.
Yep.
Same size.
Mhm.
You gonna do the last one?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
Whoops. Okay, so for those that are watching, would this not make a great cooking show?
Oh, come on.
I think this would be a great cooking show. So Michael says, Greg, it's nice to finally put names with faces. Thanks for sharing all your wonderful stories. So this is the gentleman who he was on the last time, or one of the times that Fran couldn't make it. And he invited us to his house once the pandemic is over. He's going to make us that big pork roast or something. But he says he has to leave for work. So Skippy, we'll miss you. I know you'll catch up with the rest of it when you're off work, and be safe. So my mom says, yes, it would be an awesome cooking show.
It didn't start out that way.
Well, I mean, everything has to start somewhere, and then you improve.
Yeah. I mean, just the whole oven thing, that was the last major step, and the scariest one for me. But, you know, we practiced with the heaviest pan I had and a cold oven a few times until she started getting irritated about it. And it's like, all right, I'll stop. We'll do the real thing next time.
Yeah. That's so brilliant. I mean, that is exactly that outside of the box thinking that I was mentioning before. You know, I mean, somebody else who might be scared of letting their child do something because of the potential danger associated with it, you've just now given them an idea of, particularly with the stove and the oven, but you know, letting them practice something that could be dangerous in a safe environment first.
Right. But you know, I did that mostly for me. My fault. But yeah, no. And then the little tricks like you open up the oven when you're going to put something in or take it out. She learned to step to the side of the oven door instead of trying to reach across that hot oven door. And I didn't teach her that. I didn't even think about it. She figured that out on her own.
Yeah, and I don't know if I won't know, like, based on the picture that shows up on the
no, because it's always the first frame. But
yeah,
there's one where she did that.
Yeah, and I remember watching it, and you were like, and you started to tell her, and she just did it.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to tell her. Yeah, you have a lot of shorter videos, and I'm trying to see. Yeah, I don't know. I could play them all, and I might, you know, it might take a long time to get to it. But you even do
right. So we cook every weekend. and sometimes they're easy meals, sometimes they're more elaborate. I don't video every weekend, but almost every weekend I video.
Yeah.
And then post them.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, you could just pop those onto YouTube and, pop however many you have now up there and then just add the next ones afterwards. I bet you would be surprised at how many people that you would follow you and watch that show.
You're probably right, because just posting them on Facebook as a post, we've developed quite a following already just for that. So.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
You get more exposure too. I didn't think about that.
Yep. See?
Let me process that.
I can't be the only one who has a new podcast. I mean, I can't be the only YouTuber of our generation.
Yeah, right.
Trust me, I'm not. There's a whole lot of people out there. I said it last week, I think, or maybe 2 weeks ago with Fran, that I had been just kind of scrolling before I started the show because I was looking for something. Mm-hmm. And I bet that there are, at any minute of any day, probably 10,000 videos on YouTube.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
It's just insane, the number of people. I have 18 YouTube subscribers at the moment. So, I don't have a huge following, but, like I said, you got to start somewhere. And I was just reading earlier today about a girl who's been on for 8 years. Well, no, she's been on longer than that, but it was in her 8th year that people started like, oh, hey, I forget what she said, that like one little post went viral. And then all of a sudden, it took off from there. But that took her 8 years of, just doing what I'm doing, is just being consistent and showing up every week. And Mom, you can see the videos by becoming Greg's friend on Facebook.
Yep.
So,
or you can just type in Greg S, as in Scott, Greg S Meyer, Meier, and go to my wall too. They're all on there.
Is it public though?
You know what? I don't think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So see, that's another reason that you need to put them out on YouTube, because then, you can make YouTube things private, but you can make it public and let, anybody that wants to, because I don't know who my 18 subscribers are on my YouTube channel. I don't think that they're all friends of mine, but they might be. I really have no idea. So if you are a friend of mine and you want to help my numbers on YouTube, go click subscribe, because that will help. Yeah. So what other kind of things besides cooking have you had to adapt and change and figure out as she is an adult?
Okay. I took a couple notes, not many.
Okay.
Here's one that's fairly recent, that completely took me by surprise. She, how she loves cheeseburgers. So every once in a while I break down and say, all right, well, we'll go out and have a cheeseburger. And we went to a sit-down place, and we got our drinks. She either gets a Shirley Temple or a Diet Pepsi. And the waitress came to take our order, and I just automatically ordered everything. I didn't even give her an opportunity. But I always did that. That was okay. And she didn't say anything. I didn't know, none the wiser. There were actually a couple of friends of mine that were around and overheard all of this. And they were just as baffled as I was. But finally, the burger came out. Plate was set in front of her. And she's got this pouty look on her face, and she didn't touch nothing. Uh-oh. And then she's kind of looking at me like she's like mad at me. And I didn't say anything at first. And then finally, I just asked her, I said, so what's wrong? She said, Dad, I wanted to order it. You ordered it.
Oh.
And she was offended, wasn't mad. Yeah. She was offended. So that never occurred to me. That's just something that I've always done, because I know what she wants. I mean, if she'd ordered it, she'd got the same thing.
Right. And it was that independence of doing it herself.
Right. Empowerment. And it just, that never occurred to me. And even the couple of friends that were within earshot, they know Maddie too. And they were just as shocked as I was. And I was like, you know what? I am sorry, Maddie. So guess what? I never order anything for her. She
That's
does.
good.
Yeah. The first time, the big trial was the next time we went out to eat. I don't remember where it was. And I asked her, all right, so tell the waitress what you want. And she looked at me and she goes, what do you think I want? Like she was rumming it in. And it's like, I have no idea, Maddie. You're going to have to order. So it's cool to see her sense of humor because and she's clever.
Yeah.
But that is definitely something that I had to change, like freaking on the spot. But it never would have occurred to me. I've just always done that. And her
Right.
mother has too. And she's never complained, but she's a different person now. And
Yeah.
we need to involve as her parents and her friends or anything else for that matter, as she evolves. And so that was a big lesson I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And I wrote down holding off doing things for her. That's kind of evident in the videos that we watch too. But I got to tell you, that's a learned behavior.
Mhm.
It's in my nature to help, lend a hand
Mhm.
in any or every relationship. So that is something I have to consciously work on each and every day, especially during the cooking shows, because I have this tendency to just like the gravy. I was going to grab the gravy and it was like, no, that wasn't the plan. She was going to pour hot gravy from the stove all the way across the other side of the kitchen. And that was a good thing for her to do. But I almost see, that's what I'm saying. I always have to be thinking about it.
Right.
And I've had to change my behavior. And sometimes that's not always easy.
No. And that's with anything and anyone. I mean, we do need to be aware of what we're doing. And especially when we're trying to change a habit or a bias of ours, we have to give that, oh, I gotta stop. We have to capture our thoughts basically and stop them before, we get into an old habit or an old bias. When you said it was a learned behavior, my thought pattern went a little bit differently because it's a learned behavior, could be a learned behavior for her to expect people to do things for her. True. Because that's just what was done for, whatever the reason at the time. Well, it was done for her. So now it's not that she's maliciously trying to manipulate any situation, and I don't just mean her, but any child that, starts kind of demanding certain things. Yeah. And as the parents were like, okay, look, you're 12, you're 20, you need to do these things on your own. Why don't you do these things on your own? We've trained them. We've taught them to expect certain things because of how we've treated them, however many years previously. So we have to be careful about that as well. Like, okay, why does my child behave this way? Well, let's think about how we've raised the child or what the child's, learned, because we're always teaching and learning something, even when we're not cognizant of it. Yes. So we talked about that before, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I know sometimes that parents get frustrated because they feel like they're being manipulated. And when I come into the situation, I can see, well, your child's not manipulating you, but based on other times that I've been around you and behaviors that I've seen between the two of you, that's what they've learned. So they don't know to expect something different. We've had these conversations. And again, they were helpful. They were very helpful. That feedback I absolutely needed and would not have been wise enough to ask for it. Well, thank you. But I mean, I'm not saying it to you specifically. I'm saying it to the broad audience that, because that's who I am anymore. Is I'm a thinker, and I'm always trying to help others think and not react to certain situations, but think first. And that's one of my behavior strategies is, what's the purpose of that behavior and how did that behavior get there? Yeah. So yeah, it's not specifically directed at you. No, so I didn't mean for it to be either, but yeah. It just so happens. It's right. It's not only just been you. I've gotten very valuable feedback
that was unsolicited from others, and it was equally as helpful as well. So.
Good. Okay. All right. It's not just me. Okay. So did you have something else that you wanted to make sure that we talked about today?
I do. I don't think all the listeners know, but I know you know that Maddie and I have a passion called bowling. We both love
Yes.
bowling. And
Yes.
bowling's good therapy for her mid-core too,
Mhm.
anyway, which is something that I had thought about. I didn't know if she was going to take on bowling like she did, but yeah. Now, obviously with this COVID, we've ceased and desisted.
Yeah.
Usually that's a wintertime activity because it doesn't matter what the weather is when you're bowling.
Right.
But this was a few years back, actually quite a few years back, about a year or so after we started bowling routinely. We had our little routine, you know. She gets her shoes, she puts them on, she'll tie one, and then sometimes she makes me tie the other one.
Yeah.
I give in and do it, but she gets her own ball out. She knows to wait till she gets her bowling shoes on before she puts the ball on the rack. I usually order her Diet Pepsi, and then I punch in our names so we can get going. And like I said, about a year or two after we started doing this routinely, she grabbed my arm, and because I was about to put the chin on it, and she goes, "Teach me that." And it's like, well, first off, my thought was, why the heck I hadn't thought about that already? Why does she have to ask? So
It's so awesome that she could self-advocate.
yeah, and she does often, maybe too much. No, I'm just kidding. But
That's
so I did.
probably all women, Greg.
Yeah, maybe. But at any rate, so I did after I got done feeling bad about myself for not thinking before she had to ask. But I taught her that one time, and we bowl on Saturdays. And that next Saturday, she did it on her own. In fact, she did it while I was getting the Diet Pepsi for her.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So now that's her job. You know, every time we go bowling, she punches everything in. She gets everything ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just so that was the takeaway from that experience was that was something I had to change. I need to start actively thinking about opportunities that I can provide to her when she's receptive, which is most of the time, to learn something new. So, and that was just another facet of my improving myself as her parent. While she continues to evolve, sometimes it's hard to keep up with her.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, unless you want to talk about that more, that was pretty much it for that. But I mean, it was a big lesson for me, that's for sure.
Yeah. And the thing that my takeaway from that is we go to school for such a short amount of our lives, but we're expected to learn masses of amounts of stuff in that short amount of time. And for some kids, and actually the large majority of kids, that's great. They can do that. But we have to remember that there's this percentage of kids who aren't going to learn that quickly, but they can still learn.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's that receptive nature. And that's the perfect time. You know, even if you had asked her before she came to you, she might not have been ready and she might not have wanted to do it.
Perhaps.
So letting her realize I'm ready for this is possibly even better than having asked her ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because then she was ready to absorb what you had to teach her. And, you know, she's got however many years left, 30, 40, 50 years left of her life.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a lot more life to live and learn than just that amount that she was in school.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I'm really trying to work hard on is making sure I'm looking for opportunities to help show her new things, new skills, and what have you, but to do so in a way that's not either overwhelming or overbearing.
Right. Yeah, and you'll know. She'll let you know.
Yes, she does.
Yeah. Is she willing to pop on and say hi?
I don't know. Hey, Maddie, you want to say hi to Miss Kino?
No.
Okay. Well, hi, Maddie. You might not come say hi to me, but at least you can probably hear me say hi.
She said hi. She hears. I know what she's doing. She's getting a Diet Pepsi right now.
Ah.
Nothing's
Well,
gonna get.
I'm a little surprised that she's camera shy, to be honest, but I understand.
She has her moment. Well, when she gets focused though on a goal, there's no prying her away from that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about her cheerleading years and her dance recital year, or not dance recital years, but her dancing years.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, she was the star then, most definitely. And she was all good about having attention on her.
Yeah. Yeah. She's always been really good about that. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, in a healthy way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And thinking about the cooking videos again, just how encouraging you are to her and telling her how great she is and how wonderful she is and that she's amazing and that she receives that and then says thank you. And
yes, it does.
And sometimes I've even heard her say, I am amazing.
Yeah.
And that's awesome that she can own that. I mean, how many people are given a compliment and they just say thank you and they just kind of shy away from it?
Right.
But she owns it.
Yeah, she does.
I love that.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
So was there something else? Because I mean, I can have you back sometime in Fran's steed, but just in case, was there anything else on your list?
Well, just what we just talked about. I do have one more thing, just real quick. I'll briefly touch on it. Offers as a good segue from what we just covered is I'm having to learn to choose my advice I provide her judiciously, because sometimes it frustrates her if I'm providing her something that she already thinks she knows.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of takes away from all the other positive experiences that we have. And then the other thing is allowing her to have choice. But I think we've been pretty good with that pretty much all the time anyway. But it never hurts to remind myself that I need to be cognizant of an opportunity where she's allowed to choose and no one chooses for her. And I think those are two important aspects to, I'll just say, our relationship and how we're building that each and every day and how she's evolving into this young woman.
Yeah. And it's not all rainbows and unicorns when you're together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a parent-child relationship. But the great thing now is you're moving from parent-child to friendlier. There's I don't know if you're at the friends stage yet, but I mean, I don't feel like I'm always going to be Violet's parent, but I don't have to discipline her and, as much as you have to when they're younger.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, my mom is, I have several best friends. My mom, she was my first best friend, then my husband, and now Violet is moving up in that rank.
Yeah.
So, I think that's awesome when we can do that with our children. I feel like, it's our job to teach them to be as independent as possible and then, let them become their own disciplinarian in a sense and figure things out as much as is safe for them. And yeah. So
no, I would say Maddie and I are definitely absolutely at the friendship level. And, I always try to think of things as the glass is half full, not half empty.
Mm-hmm.
And even though Lisa and I divorced and I got this little teeny tiny 1-bedroom apartment, the opportunity that lent itself is for that friendship being in such a close quartered proximity to start really building even more. I mean, we sit down and watch like 2 movies in a row and eat popcorn and stuff. And I don't know that I would have been inclined to have done that if we were still at the big house. I would hope to think that I would, but it absolutely. Yeah, I know we didn't before this. I can say that for sure. But and that's one of the things I'm going to be very mindful of when I buy this house, because she'll have her own room, like she does with her mom. And because here she sleeps in my bed and I sleep on the couch here, which works out fine. We've made the best of the situation. But I'm going to be very ever mindful about the amount of quality time that we spend together, even though we now have this larger house and she's going to have her own room to go to, which certainly she's going to be entitled to do, because she deserves that space. But I'm going to be cognizant of it because I want to make sure we don't take 2 steps back, even though we're getting into a nice house.
Yeah. It's just another change, another thing, you know, as you talked about evolving, another new step. But I think it was Michael who said earlier, you know, you just keep moving forward.
Right.
And, you know, you learn as you go and you make mistakes as you go. I mean, that honestly, I feel like mistakes it took me way too long to catch on to that, but mistakes are a way of learning things. You know, you learn that, oh, well, that wasn't the right way to do it. So now I'm going to try something else.
Right.
And as long as you keep doing that, I think your relationship will remain intact. So, again, this is my mom, and she says, I loved this show. Thank you, Shelley and Mr. Meyer.
You're most welcome.
So it is just about time to wrap up. Oh, hey, Fran joined us for just a second, and she says,
Fran.
Thank you for filling in.
You got it.
So before we go, like I said, we're at the almost hour mark. So I just want to make sure that we've covered most, if not all, of the things that you wanted to cover. And if you have anything else you want to say before we wrap it up.
No, not really. We covered every single thing I had taken notes on, which wasn't a long list anyway. But I'm going to continue to be committed to changing, improving the relationship with my daughter. Actually, all 4 of my daughters, for that matter. But seeing Maddie every single weekend offers a greater opportunity for that. And I'm always going to be thinking about ways to do things different when it comes to her. And that's about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And Fran says she loves us. We love you too, Fran. Looking forward to having you back. And we've talked about, and I'm not putting you on the spot, but I do want you to think about this. Fran and I have talked about having a kind of parent panel discussion with you and her and Mike, who was on earlier. And then there's one other parent that stepped in for Fran, Crystal Lynn. And so be thinking about that, if that would be something, you know, we might, I haven't really worked out details or anything like that. Fran and I have just kind of mentioned it to each other a couple of times. And so if you would be willing to participate in some way, whenever we get it all figured out, be thinking on that for me for the next time.
I think it's a great idea. I'm all in. We have to make sure it's not a day where I'm overwhelmed with work is all.
Right. Yeah. Cause you're retired, but working again. So, which, I mean, you were young when you retired, so it kind of makes sense that you're still working. So thank you, everybody. Fran, Michael, Mom. I don't know who else was with us. There's a couple of, it just says Facebook users. I was pretty sure those were Michael, but in case they were somebody else, thank you for joining us as well. I appreciate you all. Like I said, I know that you have many opportunities to watch other things. So I very much appreciate you tuning into this. And again, you know, share it. If anybody's watching and you've never watched this before, this is normally Friday with Fran, but today we had Greg and as Fran was busy doing something else. And I have written a book called Those Who Can't Teach. And it is it's 9 true stories of people and families who were told you can't read, write, run, have a happy family, go on vacation, do all sorts of things. And they busted through those limits and said, watch us. And I am so pleased and proud to have been able to interview them and put that in the book. And then the 10th chapter in the book is my story of going from only wanting to teach general education students to where I am today, which is wanting to make the world better for all, one IEP at a time, and changing the world's perspective of special needs, because I had the wrong perspective for a while. And I don't want it to take everybody else as long as it took me. It took me about 10 years to change my perspective. So I want to help everybody else just have a more inclusive attitude. So thank you again. Give it a thumbs up, a like, share it, do whatever you can in order to get this out to as many people as possible. See you guys next time.